Hello. We're live. Stolen Signal Radio. Stolen Signal Radio. Let's see. It's
Stolen
post.
signal. I think we're live. Well, I've said we're live.
My tweet is taking forever to post on Stolen Signal.
Are we live? Are we live? We are coming live.
Zach is back. Look,
There we are.
Eidolon is like here, ready.
What's up, guys?
What is going
Can you
on,
hear me?
buddy?
What's up?
How are you?
I'm doing quite all right. Can you actually hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, brilliant. I'm not just checking it.
How's it going?
Oh, I can hear like...
Dude, do
There we go.
you know how upset I am that I missed the majority of the Fox stream? Like, I wanted to be there to watch you stream, and I did go back, just so you know, I did go back and watch past broadcasts just so I could see some of it. Like I didn't get to see it live, but I will not go back and watch some of this broadcast. It was pretty epic.
That was crazy, dude. It was so dumb.
Now, how was it streaming in the Fox costume?
It was about as dumb as you expect because I can't see shit in it. So it's like looking through toilet paper rolls because that's how hindered my sight is. So I was looking up with my left eye and just using that as a primary. So it was pretty terrible.
The fans demanded it. You have to do it. I mean, the fans demand it. You got
exactly
100 followers.
Yeah,
That's
I promised Luke to do it, so well, fuck it. Went ahead and did it. It was like 3.5 hours.
Congratulations on 100 followers. I'm sure many more to come.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it actually went, to be perfectly honest. When you consider it, I've been doing this for like no time at all. Hold on. The camera.
We are getting going. We are slow at it. I'm trying to figure out why my posts are not going out on my Twitter. But I see that it is out there on Twitter. So yes, follow that link and join us, and you can talk about. We got two topics that we're basically talking about tonight, and hopefully we'll try to say somewhat structured. You know, I know a live show with our guests that we have in, it goes all over the place, and I'm totally fine with that as well. But we're basically the topics that we're talking about tonight are going to be the build diversity that we've had since 1.6 in whatever content you're playing. I've found that different builds work in better situations, and I found a build that I'm running now that seems to work everywhere that I go, which I'm really happy with. And the second one is going to be basically our ideas for Ninja Bike backpack. It's been a pretty big topic for a while now, and what to do with that, and get people's ideas for what they would like to see done with that. Eidolon, let me ask you, what are you running right now? What build are you running?
My primary is a Predator's Mark with the two-piece Nomad actually. That's what I use in both Last Stand and basically every PvE activity at the moment for the lifesteal on two-piece and all the damage on the Predator's Mark.
Nice. And you run that regardless of content. You're running that everywhere.
Yeah, I do have a high-end build that I'm trying out on actually to maybe substitute it to get some more diversity on it. Mm-hmm. But I'm still trying to figure out the odds and ends of that one so far.
Nice. How does it hold up in Legendary? Do you find any difficulty running Legendary? Marking agents for your teammates? Is that basically what you're doing?
I haven't actually gone into Legendary yet, to be perfectly honest, so I can't talk too much about that, to be perfectly honest.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to jump over to. You're running this on Xbox on your primary. That's
yep.
Primary.
I'm running on PS4 too.
Oh, PS4 as well. Nice.
Yeah.
We'll have to jump over there, and I'll have to we'll have to get a team and try to knock out some Legendary. I need some exotics. I have had the worst luck. Hopefully, you guys are having better luck with exotic catches than I am, because I have had the worst luck with my exotic catches. I haven't gotten a lot, maybe 6 or 7, and out of that, I've gotten 3 Ninja Bikes, 3 sidearms, 2 Damascus, 2 of the Damascus, and one of the Centurion, and I got a Hilder yesterday, but that wasn't from a exotic cache. That was from a weekly. That was from a weekly HVT, but that's it. I nothing else. So, how have exotic caches treated you? Have you gotten good stuff out of them?
Nope. I think I got
Nope.
what was it last
No,
time?
never.
Something terrible. At least.
No, me, no. Even my weekly exotic caches, I get nothing.
And that's how I've been. My
I still haven't had a Barrett's chest piece. Can you believe that? I still have never had a Barrett's chest piece.
Well, see, I've thought about the Hilder and the Air are kind of interesting because I know a lot of people are using those and liking how they function with one another. And I ran a defense build in 1.5 that I really liked. I haven't ran it since 1.5, and I would like to try a defense build as well. But I'm curious to know, and I don't think you can. If you run the Hilder in the Air, can you swap while running a shield? I mean, I know there used to be the instance where you could sprint and change your weapon while you were sprinting, and then you'd pull the shield back out. But can you swap while you're holding the shield? Probably not.
I don't know. Actually, I've not tried that. What about anyone in chat? Have you tried that?
Yeah. Anyone in chat that's, I will say something else that I don't know if it's been fixed, and I hope it has. And hopefully I'm not letting any info out. When I was ETF, I ran my defense build as well. And one of the bugs that I caught during ETF was when we would play Stolen Signal, and we would be in I called it the American Idol room, the room with the stage, all of that area, with the water that will electrocute you. When I would normally pull out my shield and run up, and I would face tank and just mow down the heavies that would come to the center of the stage and shoot the JTF officer. The only thing is I would have my SMG and I would have my shield out, and when I would move to the back and I would take cover and keep firing with my SMG, if a grenade or something knocked me out of cover, it would automatically bring up my shield, which is normal. But I wouldn't have my SMG, I would have my sidearm. So the only way I could get back to my SMG is I would have to double tap and throw my shield away and let it come back, and then he would pull his SMG out again. You couldn't change. When you got knocked out, it would automatically make you have your sidearm. And I was like, well, this is no good. As a shield person, I want that SMG. So hopefully that's been fixed. I haven't tried it, obviously, since 1.6 or since I was at Red Storm. But yeah, that was something that I immediately brought up to Frederick. It's like anybody playing a shield build is not going to like it when they get knocked out of cover and they automatically bring up that shield and they have their sidearm. That's not going to be good. So
no, that's not fun.
Yeah, that's maybe someone out there has done that and can let me know as well that was fixed since 1.6. Yeah. The second topic.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
Good.
Anyway, webcam is actually pretty shocking at the moment. It just comes with this really fuzzy picture of myself, which is quite scary.
Oh, we thought you were going with like the creepy stalker look.
Very comfortable with that look. No, I'm actually happily married with kids, guys. Don't need to worry about that.
I know what you did last summer type video you got going on.
I was actually going to surprise you with a SHD outfit, but I think I'm just going to turn the camera off.
Oh, shame.
Otherwise, it's just, it's really bad. Sorry.
No problem, Dave. You got your booming, sexy voice, so it's all good.
Thank you. The builds, which we're talking about. Running pretty much in PVs, mainly a Firecrest build with Alpha Bridge. Just really like the flame turret in PV, and PvP mainly with a Predator and Sentry's Core, 3-on-3. Yes, that's the builds I'm running with. No, they're all mainly PvP suited to firearms. So I think I'm mainly putting firearms mods there. Trying to knock out enemies as quickly as possible.
I know our co-host Sage, who had to jump out of this show. He has been running Firecrest with an MDR, and strangely enough, he's finding a lot of effectiveness running it with the Seekers, the Airburst Seeker and Wildfire. Have you tried that with your Firecrest build? Or have you just mainly stuck to the fire turret?
Oh, no, actually, I haven't tried that. Just mainly stuck to the fire turret, and the other skill I've got there will be like a healing. It's either sports station or the other healing one. So yeah, I haven't tried that. I might have to give that a go.
Yeah, Sage.
Yeah, with Wildfire.
Yeah,
definitely.
He's had a lot of success for running that Wildfire and the Seekers. Instead of it that turret being stationary, obviously those Seekers going in, seeking out your enemies, proccing that Wildfire and getting them on that status effect, and then knocking them down with the MDR. So he's really praised a lot about that build.
Yeah, it's a good point. To find a PvP with a Firecrest turret, the enemies players they just avoid it. So you can see how the Seeker Mine actually would help.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys both primarily stick with one build once you find something that you like, or do you at all ever kind of break off of that and start theory crafting other builds and stuff, or do you find yourself sticking to one build?
For my sake, I actually, after the last round of Stolen Signal, I went and built a 3-piece Banshee with what was that? The Bearish Jet Piece, a specialized backpack, and Savage Gloves, which I'll later turn into my all high-end with actually Ferrous Mask, Bearish Jet Piece, short bow knee pads. And I went hunting for the Skull Gloves and just actually a sturdy holster, and rocking with a specialized backpack on top of that. And that's my high-end build, and it absolutely works.
Really?
Amazingly. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
And what is you were going 3-piece early with Banshee, and what is that? That's damage out of cover?
Yes, 10% damage out of cover. And coupled with the either competent or responsive, it actually starts melting people both in the Dark Zone and in the Last Stand. So
yeah,
all the bonus damage.
And then you just kind of migrated to MC Skull Gloves for that, just because it's giving you the 15. So what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. What about you, Dave? Do you normally stick to one specific build, or do you like to experiment?
I had been sticking just to a couple pre 1.6, but when that came around, that and I just saw a lot of other people just trying out different builds, really encouraged me to try. A little while I was running, I think, a Reclaimer in Last Stand with Nomad. So it's really encouraged to try and different things. So the past, pretty much since 1.6 dropped, even going in and out of different builds. PvE still mainly the Firecrest build, but it's I've really tried a few different builds, so I've grown out from that.
Is there any build that you guys haven't actually tried out yet, or wanted to try and have?
For me, probably haven't yet tried out a Tactician yet, so that's probably the only one thing I haven't tried out yet.
Let us turn you to the dark side of the Tactician build. It is
Tactician is amazing.
I will never go back. I don't think I will run another build ever again. It took me the longest to become a Tactician guy, and Sage turned me to it, and it just so wrecks if you get the right build and start min-maxing that build. It is so strong.
Cool.
Please, no nerfs to Tactician. Yeah.
Tactician support build is actually what I prefer more than Reclaimer, because for some reason my Tactician's got over 300,000 skill power, but my Reclaimer can get up to like 250k, which is not nearly enough.
It's so good. Me and Sage both run Tactician, and we play together a lot, both on PC and Xbox, but mainly on PC, where our Tactician builds are a little better. That's basically what happens. Sage will run a really strong heal and support station sometimes as well, and I run almost a maxed out pulse. And our builds are fairly similar, but with a lightweight M4 or the Bullfrog, even the Bullfrog, I think I'm right at around 260 DPS with like 360,000 toughness and 380,000 skill power, and it's just his is even stronger than mine, and it's just we can go through legendaries, not like walk through them, but not get into a lot of trouble as well, and even in Last Stand, it's really strong, just really strong. But yeah, I don't think I'm going away from it. I'm running 4-piece Tactician, obviously, and Barrett's and Specialized Backpack, but really good.
Fucking Barretts.
Oh yeah. We gotta get binary some Barretts.
Can't believe the amount of
Maybe we'll
time I
just
spent trying to get Barretts.
Don't worry, I
Just
don't
make
know.
a hashtag Barretts for binary.
That's the unicorn.
It is. Yeah. She's my Eleanor.
Absolutely. Well, let's.
So do we have any?
No, go ahead.
Go on.
No, go ahead, George.
I was just gonna say, is there any questions in chat? There's a lot of people chatting away. Just wondering if anyone has any questions specifically for everyone that's in today. I'll give you 5 minutes.
How about I get into chat? That might be a good one as well. Let me. That might be as well. Let me ask you both, Arlan, first with you. What have you been playing here recently? Do you find yourself still doing more PvE stuff, or are you dabbing into Last Stand? Have you been into the Dark Zone? When's the last time you went into the Dark Zone? Let's be honest.
I gotta admit, I've been doing a lot of Last Stand because I love that game mode more than anything. It's been a while since I've been into DC. It's not that I'm afraid of it, because I really love the DC North areas, and they are basically empty of players. So it's like it's super easy just going around farming landmarks in those areas. So it's super duper. It is cool, but it feels empty, the Dark Zone. It's not like you're not afraid anymore of getting ganked. So
did you reckon that the size of the Dark Zone now has given that sense of security?
In some way, yeah. Because people still run when they go rogue and they go manhunt. You still see them running, and you still see them in the old spot, actually, on the top of the stairs. I jumped into DC not too long ago, and there was a manhunt going on, 4-piece, of course, on top of the stairs, exactly where it used to be. And they were just keeping everyone at bay with their Tacticians and the Seeker Mines and all that good stuff. So a lot has changed, but nothing has changed. So
yeah,
all good.
Yeah.
What about?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna say, Dave, what have you been doing a lot of? Have you been playing Last Stand, DZ? How do you feel about the Dark Zone now?
Yeah, similar to Eidolon, I've been mostly playing Last Stand, a bit of HVTs. Last time I went in the Dark Zone was about a week and a half ago. Just stick my nose in and see what was happening. There was a few players around, a few rogues just wandering around, but yeah, it wasn't as populated as it used to be. A few other just random solo guys running around. Just we weren't bothering each other, just grabbing caches and extracting. So yeah, it's just a bit cooler than it was. A bit more chill than what it used to be. But yeah, much quieter.
I think in a roundabout way, I think a lot of the PvE people kind of got that PvE DZ that they were looking for, and I don't know if it's going to stay that way. And I'd be interested to hear people's ideas of what could bring some of the PvP player base back to the DZ, or if they think that Last Stand has kind of filled that urge for the PvP.
But the PvP between Last Stand and the Dark Zone is different, though, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
It's not normalized in the dark zone.
Mhm.
Do you think that might be the reason why people aren't PvPing as much in the dark zone now? Because it's slightly element out of their control. So whether if you can't build a build, right, you can go into last stand and because of normalization can have a pure Frankenstein, right? Whereas you sort of can't do that in the DZ.
The overpowered people will still go in and be overpowered in the dark zone. That's what I've experienced at least a few times. Actually, ran into other players. The strong ones will always be strong and will always just gank people, no matter what you do, basically. So I don't think they turned away. I just think they're harder to find, to be perfectly honest, because of the sheer size and the fact you can actually teleport through to it from the other DC checkpoints.
Mhm.
I think it's easier to get away, but it kind of have left the DC Baron. The tension is gone.
I agree.
What's happened?
So there's no tension anymore.
Nope.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
So what is the DZ now then?
A less populated light zone, to be perfectly honest. That's what I feel like it is. It's a cool area, but it feels like it's just another expansion because it's so hard to actually find people because the area has doubled more or less. So the tension is gone, but and even with the death not even having any penalties, you don't really care about going in unless you actually go in rogue on a whim instead. If you're not seeking the thrill, you're not getting any in the dark zone. That's what I feel like, at least.
Yeah, to me, let me ask, and Binary, I'll ask you this as well. To me, is it crazy to think that if you're basically primarily a PvE player and you do a round of last stand, let's say you're level 18 and you win, how many last stand caches are you going to get as a reward? You're going to get a couple, 2, 3, maybe.
Yeah.
Is your time better spent in last stand now, or is it better spent in going into the DZ and hitting a few of those landmarks in 20 minutes and extracting? I understand in last stand you kind of get an unknown cache. You don't know what you're going to get, and you still have the possibility of those exotics. But if you're just strictly farming for credits or just for gear, are you better off going into the DZ now and running for 20 minutes and hitting some landmarks?
It's a good question. I think it's down to. I think the answer is in the question. It's what type of game style that you enjoy the most, right? If you enjoy going into the dark zone and you enjoy having that spontaneous, or if you're into that whole PvE section, then I think the dark zone is definitely more favorable for you now. I've played a lot of Last Stand recently, and I suppose I'm a little bit bored of it. You either get there's two types of games I found in Last Stand. There's either the ones where everyone's going after checkpoints, and they're going after the bosses themselves, the PvE element of that, or you just get a complete slugfest where they're all not bothered with anything; they're just shooting each other, and no checkpoints are involved at all. So. For me, I've always been a huge fan of the dark zone, so I always resonate more towards the dark zone than I do Last Stand, unless I'm in a proper team of 4 that I know I can battle out. 'Cause I'm a tactician. My DPS has never been that great. I've never been good at PvP in the division. So for me, I always favour the dark zone. I don't mind getting ganked in the dark zone. This hasn't been a huge issue for me. I think it's down to the player of what you take from it, I think.
Yeah. I the most the majority of the DZ that I've ran in the last probably couple of weeks, I haven't seen a lot like what you guys have said. I haven't seen any 4-man groups since I've been in there. The only 4-man group that I did see was just this past Friday when I was running with with Matt Shacha, one of the community managers, and he does DZ Friday. I squatted up with him on Xbox and ran into a team of 4 on Xbox. On PC, I've not seen a group of 4 in quite a while, and I ran quite a bit of the Dark Zone last weekend, both Friday and Saturday night for a few hours, both, and never saw more than 2 people running together the entire time. Now, kind of a bad story, and I hate saying this because I never do this. I'll start with that. I lead in with I never do this. But when I did get my tactician build together, it was very late at night, and I ran across 2 guys. I couldn't understand them. They couldn't understand me, but I did finally get them to invite me to their group. So we were running as a 3 in the lower DZ, and we had cleared a few landmarks. We had extracted. We were starting on our second run. We had a few pieces. And as we were going towards the parking garage extraction, I dropped group. I kind of fell back away from them, and I dropped group. So, you know, I hadn't PvP'd with the build yet. I didn't want to do it in normalization and last stand. So, of course, what I do the dick move of sneaking around and waiting for them to extract. And when they did, dude, I pulsed and knocked the first guy down in no time. The second guy, I knocked him down, and I took their stuff. And of course, what I do anytime someone goes rogue, I start booking it north. And I ran to the DZ04, that east extraction, and they came after me and knocked them down again. But I haven't seen a group more than 2 people in the DZ in a while, and I'm kind of concerned because the division was kind of built to be that the Dark Zone was going to be that very intense situation. And I agree a lot with what you guys have said. That intensity is kind of gone in the Dark Zone. I don't really know what they do to bring that back.
Yeah. Scotty.
Scotty.
Hey, what's
What
up?
do you think? Jump into the conversation. Talk builds. Talk whatever you want to talk about. What's
I
on your
literally
mind?
just got here. What's happening?
We were just talking about we were having a discussion about the Dark Zone, and how Last Stand has kind of moved that the majority of the PvP players away from the Dark Zone, and is that intensity still there in the Dark Zone? Do you find yourself wanting to go to the Dark Zone, and if you do, is it the same Dark Zone that we experienced in earlier versions 1.3?
See, I think that thanks to Last Stand, the sort of the shift of people who like to PvP and people who like to go rogue has sort of split. There were those people who enjoyed the PvP, but then there were people who enjoyed seeing that little skull on their shoulder and just, you know, it sort of separated the people who like to just PvP, go up against rogues, and then the people who liked to just be rogue. And I'm trying to make it sound like it made sense. I'm tired. I just finished streaming. Bear with me. But yeah, no, I think obviously with the addition of Last Stand, and it's normalized as well, so people feel like they have more of a fair chance. So yeah, I would say that, like, I personally don't feel the same need to go into the Dark Zone, because I mean, who wants a ninja bike bag?
We'll get to that shortly.
Oh, I've joined onto a topic that's soon to be discussed.
Well, let me ask you. We were talking our first topic of the first hour was build diversity. What are you running now, and do you find yourself experimenting with different builds depending on what content you're playing?
Actually, that's the exact reason my build is what it is. It's gonna want to tackle all to my playstyle. I'm running 3 exotic pieces paired with 3 high-end pieces. So I'm using Barretts with short bows and Skulls MC with specialized, nimble, and tenacious. So I'm still fine tweaking some parts of that build. Like, I'd much rather have Joe Farrow's mask for, say, for example, the mass amount of flame turrets and seekers and incendiaries within Last Stand, but tenacious works pretty well as well. And then nimble, I'm using that because everybody else is. I'll happily admit that. I'll switch to Colonel Bliss's once that changes.
I was fixing to ask you, what are you going to do with your nimble when they nerf it into the ground shortly? So
Colonel Bliss, because that is a Bliss holster.
yeah, absolutely. So let me get your guys' thoughts on that, and that's kind of our second topic, and we can bounce around. That's totally fine. You brought up the conversation of Ninja Bike. Well, there have been a lot of discussions, a lot of ideas thrown out there. Eidolon, if you have an idea, let's start with you. What do you think could be done about Ninja Bike to make it viable, and people not instantly want to sell it?
Imagine you got Pulse Scrambler free with the Ninja Bike backpack. So you can basically get both damage and you can get the hiding from everyone else. That could probably work if you ask me.
So like mix tactical scanner and concealed.
Yeah, exactly. It gave you a pulse conceal more or less, and it gave you a whole group that could actually be a worthwhile DC exotic if you ask me. But that maybe just be me. But I think that's a pretty cool idea. Or it may be like, no, it'd be probably too strong if it unlocked everything on the pulse tree, but...
Just to give a little bit of context, what's wrong with Ninja Backpack? What's wrong with it? Is it just a completely underutilized piece of trash, or what's wrong with it right now? Just to give context to people.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is its bonus not like you don't lose funds or something like that, or like you lose less?
Less
one public drop.
Yeah, one less public drop. Which, to be fair, it's not always like something that people crave for. There's not a one time like, oh my god, this god roll weapon. You know, you never seem to find that in the Dark Zone, or at least I don't.
Less DZ funds and keys as well. Yeah,
and given you don't lose those unless you're rogue anyway.
Absolutely,
yeah, exactly.
That's completely negated. Like that's more of a rogue only perk.
Mm.
And even then, the rogues don't want to touch it.
Dave, what do you think? Do you have an idea for Ninja Bike?
Yeah, a bit left field. Thinking like a agility or probably movement speed bonus, maybe an increase 25% in speed for like 30 seconds, or something like that. Of course, not too OP, but enough to give that ninja sort of feel, like Eidolon's suggestion as well as being less detectable. So that's yeah, my idea.
I think
more
think
ninja.
a lot of people have brought up the idea of movement speed. You know, we obviously know we get it from the security link, and I think that was kind of when you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think when Banshee was first brought in, they tried to do something with movement speed, and it really kind of threw a wrench into the programming of the game. It really started to do some weird things. Scott, I can see Scotty ready to jump in here. And I think if I remember correctly, there were some problems with movement speed.
Yeah, they were saying it was causing issues on consoles and low end PCs because of, since you're running the speed you're set to run is because of the way the world renders and loads. So it's going faster than that meant the game had to go faster.
Right. I do like the idea.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It puts the ninja in Ninja Bike.
Absolutely.
How about a little bicycle that gets you bonus speed? Nunchucks. Hey, they would be a brilliant sidearm, actually.
Well, it's your turn. Is that your idea? That's what you're going with? I was hoping you were going to have some revelation for an idea, and now we got.
You say that's a revelation.
I would use nunchucks. God, I'd focus a whole build around it.
I'm with Scotty on this.
Ninja Backpack. For me, I think a Ninja Backpack should increase the amount that you should be able to extract from 9. For me, I think it's a backpack. It predominantly in most cases always been linked to your inventory size. So a Ninja Backpack for me should be you could hold more caches. Right, that are not that, and you can't lose the caches. You can lose any actual a normal stash, right? But any caches you've got, you can't drop, or increases the amount of caches you can hold outside of a normal, something like that. Otherwise, it's just a bit of crappy piece of. It's probably the crappiest high-end piece.
It's an exotic, not even high-end.
Yeah.
It's a lump of coal.
Oh yeah, it is an exotic. Yeah. For me, something like that. I don't think we need any more stats affecting pieces of gear. I don't think we need that. I think something that is more of an enabler to us to be able to play for a little bit longer, or something like that would be good. Something to do with inventory. Something to do with not necessarily losing gear, but extra stashes, right? Just put on or take off as and when you need it, rather than it being a formal piece of a viable build, because it's not right now.
Matt Shields, the Hunter cosplayer, Commander Shields, he suggested a double swap speed between weapons and things like that.
So kind of like a quick draw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
These are a lot of good ideas.
I think
There are a
Deep
lot
Fried
of good
Dave also came into that one because of his, was it Call of Duty days, where he actually had the switch speed between weapons.
Yeah.
Maybe coupled with a ADS speed of some sort.
That'd be a really cool talent to have for weapons as a whole, like some sort of like a quick draw one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think we just make it where Ninja Bike allows you to carry 3 primaries just so we can bring back the 9 talents on Alpha Bridge. No, don't do that.
Don't put the ideas in their head, Weezer. What are you doing?
No, well, I kind of threw out the idea, and it may sound, super off the wall. And there are some builds, especially the high end. I don't know exactly how it would work, but I was throwing out the idea to Sage that it would be kind of interesting, much like MC Skull Gloves gives you a bonus when you have no gear sets bonuses active. I thought it would be neat. Like, what would you guys think about if Ninja Bike gave a very specific bonus, and now George is going to be off because he doesn't want me to get into adding stats to gear. I get it.
No.
And
Go
I
ahead.
agree. Well, I agree a lot with what you're saying as well. It's a very good point. But if Ninja Bike would give you a somewhat small bonus to every gear set, depending on what gear set you're running, the catch to it is you must run 5 pieces of that gear set. So, for instance,
So it's okay, yeah.
yes. So Tactician, the 2 will give you skill haste, and the 3 will give you skill power. Well, if you run 5 pieces of tack with Ninja Bike, it might give you an extra 5% skill haste and a slight bump to power. Or if you're running, whatever, if you're running Sentry's Call or Predator's Mark, your Predator's Mark 2 piece is what? What is Predator's Mark 2 piece? Not optimal range.
How about just a 5% boost for every skill power if 5 pieces are?
Yeah,
equipped?
5 pieces in that Ninja Bike will give
Yeah.
your particular gear set a bump to
5%.
its second and third attribute, whatever they are. Like I said, the only one I haven't really figured out how they would combat against it would be an all high end build like what Scotty's running, giving that a slight bump. But it alleviates people running Barrett's Chest, Savage Gloves. You won't be able to do those because you're going to have to run 5 piece and Ninja Bikes.
But
Specialized.
that's the thing with
those are gone.
that's kind of the thing with the MC Skull Gloves. They give you a bonus without the skill bonus from the pieces. So why not have something in the opposite direction? I actually
Yeah.
I think a lot of people
Yeah, that's
have
a cool idea.
started with the idea of 5 and 6 piece bonus talents, and I think that would kind of, you can run 5 in the Ninja Bike and it give you something, and it would work across all builds, regardless of what build you're running. You can continue to run that build and get a slight bump from that Ninja Bike. Just an idea. I don't know how that would go over, but yeah.
Why doesn't? No, this is probably more for you, Weezer, but
Okay.
At ETF, or has anyone actually asked? There's a 4-piece bonus when you have 6 pieces. Like, why was it never 6 pieces gives you? You're a full tack or you're a full striker. Why is it always 4 and 2?
diversity.
Yeah, yeah, some diversity, and to be honest, I really don't know because we've had 5 piece, right? We had 5 piece when you couldn't do, what was it? When they took away, it wasn't Century shotguns, was it? What was it when we couldn't do 3 and 3?
It was Sentry.
Striker. It was Sentry. They went to a 5-piece on Sentry.
They went to a 5-piece on Sentry and Striker, yeah.
But we can do it. We know we can do 5.
I think the reason,
obviously, so
I think the reason they put it back though is because they didn't want to sort of single people into that only one other option. So I mean, it's obviously it's completely on their decision to make. But
yeah, but we say build diversity, right? That's the reason we do it. But what's everybody run? They run a build with Barrett's chest piece and MC gloves, or a variation of that, right? I wouldn't call that a huge amount of diversity. I wouldn't call that a huge amount of diversity.
Well,
the only diversity in there would be the RNG of your actual stats in that build, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's a great point. That's a great point. If you're giving us 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 piece bonuses, that's an instant, adding to diversity right now, right there. I mean, now do I want to run 5 piece, or do I want to run 3 piece, or do I want to run 6 within whatever build that I'm running? And that could be something that they're just holding over for the future. Always, keeping that in their back pocket as well. But yeah, I like the idea of running 6 pieces if it gives me something strong that I
give you an ultimate, for an example. How about that? Like
ultimate power.
Like a tech link. How about a free tech link or something like that?
I just imagine like your inner Palpatine coming out and like unlimited power.
Over 9,000 and all that stuff. But what if it gave you an additional, I don't know, like the tech link and survival link and all that good stuff? What about this? What about a 6 piece give you something, on top of that, for the trade-off of not going 4 piece, 2 piece, or 3 piece, 3 piece? How about that? Could that work in some sense? Or
that could work.
Or is
yeah.
Or whether it gave what looked like a 6. I suppose the example of what would be the example of that. Like if you're a striker, if you went 6 piece striker, 6 piece, you would have what Lone Star gives you, right? Which is that you swap out a holster weapon and it's automatically reloaded.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the thing, isn't it? Like, it could give you the additional 20% damage for shotguns or for LMGs in a specific time of area or something like that. But it would automatically actually block out like survival link or all that in the same slot. You activate that.
Okay.
So it's a trade-off. One more time, you pick either you're going for the 6 piece or you're going for the free picked up ultimates, because you're all limited in your perk slots in somewhat. So why not try to focus something around that way around it? I know it sounds abstract and I'm just pulling shit out of my ass, but it's something that's fun. I want to see.
Yeah,
discussing all of this.
That's how I think we'll come to a conclusion with either build diversity or the Ninja Bike. I mean, throwing out even some of the craziest ideas spurs more conversation. Like I don't know, like I said, my idea for Ninja Bike, I don't know exactly how it'd be implemented, or if that would kind of appease everyone because it somewhat works with every build. And
I suppose that's kind of where the ETF could come in with that, though. Like they could change the talent, well, the ETF and the PTS, they could change the talent during the PTS to see how it would work. Kind of like what they did with Seeker. I mean, yeah, they scrapped that in the end, but as we saw, they fundamentally changed it. Pretty much like, what was it, like 2 times during the build? There was the initial version, then the slightly nerfed one or something like that. And they changed entirely.
Yeah.
Something like that. They can change it during the PTS to see what people like best.
What do you got? Let me ask you this, because this is something else that we talked about at ETF, and it's got me thinking the way that we're talking about implementing a different version of Ninja Bike. I spoke to Frederick Thylander and I brought up the idea, and I've seen people mention it since. I think Drew, like butter, tried to steal my idea. Me and him have went back and forth. No, I get along with Drew really well. But I brought up the idea to Frederick about exotic weapon mods and exotic mods on your gear. What do you think? And my idea behind the weapon mods, let's say, for instance, if you got an X1 scope for a sniper, it would have It would have to be on a sniper, and it would give just a one talent. Now if you get an X1 and you're going to get headshot damage, crit damage, crit chance. Well, if you get an exotic one, if you get an exotic attachment, it's going to give you one really good stat, and that's it. So there is that risk reward. There is that, I get a little, but I got to give a little. And let's say you get an X1 that you use on a sniper, and it gives you 35% headshot damage. Would you use that over an X1 that gives you 18% headshot damage and 4% crit damage and 2.5% crit chance? Would you? It's just those ideas. I've thought of those, or SMG or an assault rifle, exotic mods that would give you a better rate of fire, but the same. You're not getting the other things as well. So there is that little give and take. Or such things for gear mods where you're going to get a stronger. Now I'm going to scare myself by saying things like stronger speaker mine damage. Think, oh shit, got to worry about 10% speaker damage. Like we don't want that, but yeah, Scotty's out. It's like, no, that's it. I'm turning it around. I'm done. But yeah, could you implement exotic gear mods and weapon mods? If done correctly, would people want that?
Exotic gear. It's just that's another number to crunch, isn't it?
I know. I'm killing you with adding stats.
No, but I think it could work. I think if you were to have, if your mods were specific to your category of gear, like mods, you'd have to have gear set mods, right? Green mods for gear sets. You'd have to have exotic gear mods for exotic. I think then you're also adding a level of grinding factor to the game as well. So I do really like that. I did see one comment. I'm not sure if we did pick up on it, but the Ninja backpack could negate the Seeker Mine's ability to seek you out. I quite like that. I quite like that one. That was quite cool. And for turrets too. Turrets don't pick you up. I thought that was quite cool.
Yeah. That would actually work both in PvE and PvP.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
That was not mine. I'll take credit, but it's not mine. That was just further up in chat.
I'll take someone else's credit.
I really like
it. What a good counter to Airburst Seekers if you could throw that ninja bike on and they can't seek you out. That's wow.
Same for turrets.
Yeah, and for turrets.
Would you also include the turrets that the objectives in Last Stand?
I like that idea. Whoever put that in chat, get that on Twitter. I think that's a really good idea. I haven't thought of that. That's kudos to whoever came up with that idea.
That is very ninja.
Yeah. Wow.
It was Vika R. I don't know who that is. Vika, but good idea.
Yeah. Anya, I really like that idea.
Yeah,
consider it stolen.
Yeah. Now I know why they call it stolen signal.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Great ideas are always other people's. You just made it first. Danny Salander, should I be humiliated on national television butt naked in front of millions of guys all over America? 1 for yes, 2 for no.
You mean you haven't already? God, get with the times.
I was going to say, if you're talking about this show, it's not going to be millions. It's going to be like 12 people are going to see your.
I mean,
we're going to see your Dark Zone.
Oh, I'm taking the shirt off. I love it. That sponsorship banner. There's your free promotion.
Oh, there's my free promotion. The shirt fits nicely.
Yeah, I heard you had to pay for yours, like at the door, or something
at
like
the
that.
door.
I don't know how it happened, but yeah, I heard the customs and stuff.
Oh yeah, mine.
Yeah,
so I haven't got mine yet.
Oh what?
Mine's so I got a thing through the door, and I got a customs fee.
That is so crap.
£12.
Yeah, because this free.
Yeah. So mine arrives Monday.
That's so terrible, though. They should have known. Like, no, we like this guy. He's cool. He can have this for free. We won't tell anyone.
Yeah. Especially when it's sent back.
Go going back to the build diversity, if I can, for just a second.
Absolutely.
Why don't we see like Hunter's Faith, and we don't see that much of what was it now? The other one that's Final Measure. I think we don't see much of those because they're not pure damage based, like the DC, where people actually test each other's strength. And even though with normalization, you don't see that much of use because they don't add upon whatever gives you the most benefit in a PvP sense. Because if you take even a Frankenstein build, if you just have just a bit of your head with you, you can actually get pretty fucking far in PvE. Let's just be honest about that. You can do it in Legendary, but if you found like open world bosses, if you found most missions on challenging, if you matchmake, you can get by pretty okay, I'd say. But it's not a pure expansion on what you can do in terms of pure numbers with those builds. So they probably need a buff, if you ask me.
Yeah, I know Hunter's Faith definitely won the poll that Hamish ran for the gear set that needed to be looked at and kind of reworked. Final Measure, I'll be honest, I tried to run Final Measure in Last Stand and was really underwhelmed by the performance. I was hoping it was going to do a lot better than what it did. I know a lot of people, and myself included, like Final Measure in the Stolen Signal Incursion. Some of the areas it really works really well to have at least one person running a pretty good Final Measure build. But I agree, there are some sets in there, including those two, that normally when I get them, if I'm honest, Hunter's Faith and even Predator's Mark to an extent, because I'm kind of not that style player, but Hunter's Faith, I immediately sell it. So yeah, what do you think, Binary?
Well, it's interesting actually because I was on Sit Rep Radio's show this week, and Hunter's the discussion of Hunter's Faith actually came up. And firstly, like, who actually runs it? Because I don't think actually anyone runs it. But what would be a viable use of it? And the thing that came to me is, you know, I do not have the intelligence to think of some type of stat or some type of gear set capability from what Hunter's Faith is. I think the biggest problem with Hunter's Faith is it doesn't have, and I'm copying what I said on the show, was it doesn't have a story, right? You know, you play strikers, right? You know, it's a DPS build, right? You know, you play Predator's Mark, yeah? It's a bleeders. You know, you can play support or your you know, there's a story behind those gear sets, whereas Hunter's Faith doesn't have that. Right? I don't think it resonates for anybody. So for me, they either need to get rid of it or create a purpose, right? Whether it's a team-based, or is it a team-based gear set? Is it a solo-based gear set? What is it? Regardless of stats, just the name Hunter's Faith, what does it mean to people? And I think that's what will also drive people into actually using it.
The thing with the Hunter's Faith is it's a marksman build, but there's another marksman build that actually does what it should be doing, but better, because marksman is usually based around doing some goddamn damage from a vantage point of some sort and give support that way. And Hunter's Faith is based about protecting and giving that damage at the same time. That's kind of thing that I think turns people off of it.
You know, Hunter's Faith to me, right, is like, I'm a hunter and I have like some faith in the hunting gods. And it gives me some type of perk, right? You know, like a headshot, right? It's almost like a guaranteed headshot from it, or, you know, a decapitating shot in the limb, or, you know, when you're playing animals and stuff, right? It just goes straight for the heart. You know, it gives a bonus to hip fire, right? Or something like that, you know? I think, yeah, it's just lost on me, Hunter's Faith. I don't get it.
Give me a tracking bullets, for fuck's sake, with the 5-piece build.
Tracking bullets. There we go. Yeah, you start. There we go. Right. What about that? Right. You tag someone. Right. You tag someone with Hunter's Faith, and then they're permanently on your map for a minute, 2 minutes.
And
smart.
that would
Something
actually
like that.
make sense. That would actually give a whole lot more of a utility build, both PvE and PvP, actually.
It's kind of like Faith of the Hunter's shot, you know? He knows that he's going to have his mark.
Yeah. And then you're getting a story with it.
Yeah.
I quite like that. Yeah. Tag up and they become permanently visible. No more rogues running away from you. I like that.
Nope. I will find you and I will kill you.
Are there any other pieces that you guys, when you get them, like you instantly, regardless of what's on it, that you instantly get rid of?
Hold on. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah. Just with you saying that, Binary, the whole no rogues escaping your sight, what if it slowed them down as well? Or something like that? What if when you mark
Gave them a limp.
Yeah, like it decreases their movement speed. I mean, we've been talking
That's a bit like Predator's Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
That's true. No. But yeah, no, that's true.
Too much about going
Slows
too
them down.
fast. What about slowing it down a bit? Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's been talked about as well. Some form of a bonus that if someone goes rogue, that your rounds will slow their movement speed down.
Yeah.
And as
to be fair-
a player that generally doesn't go rogue, I'm cool with that.
yeah. To be fair, if you were shot in the leg by an M44, you'd be limping too.
Yeah. absolutely. Yeah. But no, going back, are there other gear sets that you guys generally deconstruct or sell right away?
Lone Star.
Yeah, Lone Star, defense, final measure.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything that I don't use right now. So pretty much all the gear sets, unless it's a good roll and I know I'll use it one day. It's like your strikers, your alpha.
Yeah, I'm the same way pretty much with Nomad, Lone Star. I get rid of.
Oh, I keep Nomad.
Nomad.
Oh, you gotta keep Nomad's an unsung hero.
Yeah.
I can't get into
I
it.
do
You
like
guys
my
are gonna have
Nomad.
you're gonna have to do like Sage and turn me to the ways of Nomad. I generally deconstruct it right away. I've even gotten to the point now where I'm doing it with Predator and Sentry.
2-piece and 3-piece
Yes.
are boss. Yeah, 2-piece, 15% health on kill, and then 3-piece is constant healing. All right, it doesn't go back to it. Doesn't. It's not the same as like the rejuvenation mask back of like 1.1, but yeah, 3-piece Nomad is even 4-piece. If you run 4-piece Nomads, just on its own, it's pretty good. That will save your bacon.
Yeah, it's a very underestimated build, if you actually ask me. But I use 2-piece Nomad for the longest time, just for the sake of the health on kill.
It's like the
gives
Anakin
you so much
Skywalker. It's like Anakin Skywalker. You underestimate my power.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
all that sustain.
From vanilla, I used to run 4-piece striker, 2-piece Nomad. I now run 2-piece Nomad and 4-piece Tactician. That's what I run now.
I should try that.
'Cause, yeah,
It's interesting.
it's a lot of fun. So my Tacticians with fire turret, with my MDR, I'm pretty good on my own.
Of course, yeah.
Taking down enough enemies quick enough.
Proc and distracted. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah, I should try that.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna steal that now. You've built a meta.
Are there any topics, any concerns, any questions, any ideas that you guys want to bring up during the show? Anything that you've been thinking about lately that you'd like to discuss?
Why we should buff Seeker? I'm kidding. Kidding.
I was just about to say, I'm going to punch you, Scotty.
How are
Just
you guys
review-
feeling about the new med kits? Do you think they found the right, kind of middle ground with the med kits? Are you still finding them a little underwhelming, or?
I liked them as they were, but I still had to remind myself like halfway through the stream, like, oh yeah, they buffed these. They feel the same though.
Yeah, the thing is, you didn't cover long enough. They can almost heal it back to full, but don't expect that immediately. Bam! I don't know where going back to health, but I like the fact that they actually remove your status effects still.
Yeah,
I gotta
I just
admit, I
wish they
used
would
that-
remove shock.
So's a can of food.
That's
You
true,
eat,
but yeah.
you eat a chocolate bar and you get rid of your status effects.
I mean, that's how life works, right? You have one Snickers, you're good for life.
Yeah. Don't be a diva.
Well, Binary, as a tactician build as well, do you even notice the med kits? Like I rarely use them with a tac build. My heal goes back so quick. I rarely use them.
No, I don't even have a first aid.
Yeah.
I just have support station. Support station and a seeker mine, or a support station and a turret.
Did he say that?
Did he just say the SM words?
Well, I can have a seeker mine, but I don't spec into a seeker mine.
You said it again. This is a PG-13 stream. What's wrong with you? Except I don't know if that's true. Seekers are good. Just don't rely on them, I think.
No. I use them for crowd control and PvE. I don't use them in PvP. When I'm in PvP, it's just I don't do PvP. I support, so it's then booster shot and support station.
Yeah, you're the supportive type.
Yeah, I'm not that. I'm great at PvP in any other game but the Division. I suck at PvP in the Division. Don't know why.
For me, it's the opposite. But I'm only good in Last Stand because hooray for normalization.
Well, are there any other skills that you guys are running into that are like any other bugs that you guys are finding kind of frustrating? I know Sage has had a lot of problems with his defibrillator skill on his tactician build. He can shoot it on us and it will not pick us up. It happens quite a lot, even when he doesn't have support station. Because I know a lot of people have had trouble having support down and then dropping defib and it doesn't pick up. But he can just hit defib and it will not do anything.
Is that by any chance his PC build that we were running with?
Yes, he has improved on it some, but yes.
I just remember it because of that one match.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you were in
That
there
one match. Yeah.
It was last weekend as well. Yeah, he's still having trouble with his defib not picking. It doesn't happen all the time, but I would say it's about a 50-50 if it's going to work or not.
Yeah.
You get that with life support too. Sometimes life support won't pick you up at all. I find it's the worst though, and I never understand why it's never been looked at. Is the skills are the most buggiest when you do Dragon Nest. Skills almost every time will not work when you're in Dragon's Nest. And I don't know whether that's because Dragon's Nest is just one status fuck fest or or what. But yeah, Dragon's Nest has always been an issue. I don't think it's ever been looked at properly.
I think Dragon's Nest is when people started ranting about it almost the most, when people would set on those crates for the 4 horsemen and dropping support and stuff, and it not picking agents up. That's when I remember a big revolt on skills basically starting. So yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Cool. Dave just got attacked.
Are you okay?
Yep.
Dave?
I think someone disagrees.
There's a hunter behind me.
I was just
I'm gonna have to
throwing
go in
your
a
shirt on real quick, just.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to go in a minute. Family problems.
Oh no, it's all right.
No worries. I'm gonna head off too, anyways. It's pretty late here, as Binary, as you know. So.
Oh yeah. You got church in the morning.
Totally, yeah, because I am totally biblical. I only pray to RN Jesus. All right, well, it's been fun, guys. So I'll catch you all later.
Thank
See
you
you
for joining
later.
us, Scotty.
No worries. Take care, guys. Good night.
See ya.
Yeah, I
I'll
think
be
there's
around for another 5 minutes.
I think there's a lot of good discussions going on right now with content in general with the division. I will constantly be an optimistic for the future of the division, but I kind of have concerns with a lot of what we're doing right now. I know Last Stand is keeping quite a few people keeping their attention right now, but my concern is when Last Stand starts to wear off. If we're looking at May, let's see, what did they say? We're going to get a PTS in May, and we're going to get probably 1.7, I would say in June, late June, July, somewhere around there. things like the Dark Zone, things like survival. Have you guys ran survival? Is that like what can we do with survival? What can be done about survival to revitalize those things? Underground, for instance. I can't think of the last time I went in the underground. Seems kind of a wasted thing to me.
The biggest issue is probably that the time spent versus the stuff you get from it. It's not really viable compared to Last Stand, because you get so much more from playing Last Stand compared to like the underground to do survival. Because to be perfectly honest, survival is probably one of the best things to ever come with this game so far, in terms of challenge, especially in PvP. But the second you start figuring out how to beat the hunters with like easy mode, then it's just going to be like, okay, how many spots can I hit before I'm actually filled up with those survival caches? And that's like 6 caches. It's been like an hour or 2, and that's still not worth it in terms of the loot you get. Because
won't there come right a critical point in the timeline where loot is not enough, right? Where we would have had enough time to actually try out all the different builds and have a certain amount of excitement. At some point, doesn't it? Now, the thing for me is what I'm really excited for is the potential or the propensity for seasons. Now, how good would seasons be if at the beginning of every season you had to start your agent from scratch? With nothing, no div tech, absolutely nothing. And within that season, exotics were extremely hard to get. Were exotics, and that's exactly what they are, right? Because exotics now aren't exactly exotics, are they? They're just harder end game content that you get. But if you had to start your agent from scratch, from zero, right? You didn't have to go through. You didn't have to do the story, i.e., run through the story every time, because obviously that would get monotonous. But if you started from zero, your gear score was 0, and every season you had to regrind your way back up. Season, then you would get something that you get to carry over to the next season, or something that you can transfer back to your main tune, for example. That was season orientated. There was like new weapons or something like that. Do you think that would? Because for me, the longevity point definitely for the next year, I can't see them adding more mass amounts of content apart from trying to reuse what the assets they've already got, just in a more intelligent way.
That's true. I think I said this on the last episode. I would love to see a new world tier, because I still have my 6, 8, whatever finished builds right now, but I would start the grind over any day if there need to be. So I'm not gonna lie, I would absolutely fucking hate it to go through every fucking season, but I would goddamn do it because I love the game and it will give me something new to do with it. Right. It's a kind of masochistic way to look at it, but I would hate it. I would love it. I love doing it. I love hating it all the way through. But I would do it for a silly vanity item to just show up. Yes, I did this shit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie about that. I would absolutely love that.
Maybe set golden seeker mines or something.
Yeah, Dave, how do you feel about that? Would you be interested in doing seasons if that was the direction that they went for year 2, Dave?
Yeah, definitely. You could go online and had some vanity piece that showed to everyone that you'd completed the season or seasons or something else. Yeah, that'd be really, really cool. Would be definitely more incentive to keep grinding.
As for me, I definitely could see myself doing it. I always go back to the point that what has kept me in this game more than anything is community, and doing something like that, playing through a season with the people that I have met on the division sounds like something that I would be interested in doing. To me, when I'm playing with a group, it's more about the interaction with the group than the content. So that's, I understand how some people that might be difficult for that don't have a group. But yeah, I would be totally willing to do that grind over as well. My question to you, Binary, is do you think that point is coming where there is a split between the primary PvE and the PvP players, where PvE players get that season, get that feat, and hopefully those PvP players that want a competitive mode within the game, whether it's 4v4, are we coming to that split eventually? Because I love the idea of seasons and feats, but is that going to keep the people that want competitive PvP? Is that going to appeal to them?
For people who want competitive, probably not. No. But they sort of feed each other, right? If they want competitive PvP, they're not playing the division.
Right.
They're not playing the division. The division will never be a competitive PvP game, but it will always have that PvP element. And I think within seasons, right? If within those seasons, right, you have I think they're talking about them as feats, but these multipliers that will push you down certain routes or certain type of builds to try and counteract those feats, for example. That grind, right, you will get weapons or loot which will aid you in a PvP last stand environment, for example. So last stand becomes seasonal. Yeah. So each season within that PvP environment, a certain weapon type or a certain weapon category is only that's available. So you have to you're pushing people down a certain play style for that particular month or that particular season, right? I think that the amount of loot that there is nothing wrong with doing that.
I just want to suggest, maybe in the PvE side of it, or when you're at base of ops, they could make minor tweaks to characters and signs, just as like at the end of each season, characters coming up to you and saying, "Oh, you're helping recover New York even more," and like spring's looking that much better, or something like that. Just minor tweaks to the world. Maybe that's something I could do as well.
Yeah.
How about PvP with modifiers in some sort?
Well,
in every season.
Well, okay. You mean within Last Stand?
Yeah.
Modifier?
Yeah, exactly. Just to push some sort of meta for every season, instead of every season being like Alpha Bridge or Predator's Mark or whatever it would be, instead of being locked in a certain meta, how about every season had a new modifier of some sort going into the PvP area as well, so you're actually forced into having some specific area to go into before this stuff being viable. You can still use every other thing, but if you have to get somewhere, you're forced into some sort of a different build that you probably usually do.
Right. Yeah, that could work. I could see that. Or like maybe even goals within those specific builds, like a modifier where you need so many headshots with Predator's Mark, 20 headshot kills or 50 headshot kills within that month using Predator's Mark, something like that. Certain things, kind of like the weekly assignments that we get now, a seasonal assignment for a particular build, or yeah, I could see that. I keep going back, and I just have an idea of, and I agree, Binary, with so much of what you say, and I agree that at the end of the day, I don't know if this can ever be a competitive PvP game like Rainbow Six, like Call of Duty, or those type of things. But with modifiers, I just have this image stuck in my head of that final room of Falcon Lost with the ABC and just a 4v4 on each side. Now, if you take away skill, take away those things, like take away
private matches.
Yes, private matches with no seekers. That kind of shit's got to go because that takes the cover based out of it. Because the seekers are going to tell you right where I'm at. But
Yeah.
but taking away those skills, those signatures, and just making it strictly a gunfight with your med kits and your grenades, and that's it. A 4v4 in that room with so much cover. You have the pit in the middle. You have kind of the sniper overhead on one end. You have a lot of cover with the APC on the other end, and just a 4v4 room where we could have just a small taste of some type of competitive PvP would be interesting. I don't know if it's doable because it's kind of stripping down what we already have in a way, and I don't know if it would be difficult to do, but I just think the division would
Well, I
really.
think something like that would be really good.
I think it would benefit them so much, and I know they have people there much smarter than me that are thinking of those things as well. But I just think it would be really neat, like I said in our last episode, to see some of the more well-known groups that are out there that want a competitive PvP, give them the opportunity to do that. Where like I said, it would be super neat to jump on a Friday night if I knew the DZR team was going up against whoever. That would be really fun to get on there and watch a best of 7 matchup against 2 well-known clans on Twitch. That would be and I think other games like Rainbow Six have that now, and it's kind of watching them and being somewhat envious of the fun that it looks like they have, and being able to implement that in the game that we love to play as well would be really fun. Go ahead, Ilan. I could see.
Take a game mode where you lock out multiples of the same build. Like you can only have one Predator's Mark build, you can only have one Nomad build, you can only have one Tactician's build.
Mm-hmm.
Or how about
Yeah, I like that.
Or how about you take a pure bare bones? It's actually what you're asking for, Visa. It's actually a bare bones playlist. Both could be super entertaining and could actually put a lot of longevity into the game as it is right now, if you ask me.
Oh, I like that. Where you go and select, so you go into a lobby and then you select what gear set you want to play as.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
We have
Wow, that's a
Remy.
beard.
That's a
We
very,
have
very
an
bearded bear.
extremely popular guest joining us. We have Remy Ransom, one of the co-hosts of Bombshell Jackets, our evening beverage as well. He's got the beard. Everybody knows him. Remy, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Hello, I'm Remy Ransom, and this is a delicious iced tea.
The handsome Remy Ransom.
If for some reason you hear like my 9-year-old run through, he's playing Overwatch and telling me about his plays of the game, so don't mind him.
Yeah, it's family. It happens. We all know
We all
that.
know. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I was watching while I was making dinner.
Yeah, we've been talking. We kind of jumped all over the place. I would be interested, coming from someone that has a big background in looter shooters with Diablo, World of Warcraft, those kind of games. Binary was just recently talking about seasons and feats, and I know that's been a topic that you've been a big fan of. So sell me on seasons within Diablo. Why would me as a PvE player be excited about seasons coming to Division?
Little tweaks in gear sets and particular legendary items that make it like a little bit sweeter. For instance, like one season, the Shadows build was kind of redone and some weapons were added to that. And it was freaking nuts to be a demon hunter that season. I tried it, but I play in hardcore, so I got really overzealous and I died probably Paragon level 60, which isn't that good of a run for me. And it's one of the many things I've been made fun of in Diablo playing with my friends. But So, for instance, last season, let's look at Demon Hunters last season. And I said this on Bombshell Jackets, too. They changed one belt. They changed the perk of one belt, and that completely made the build completely different. So it was all of a sudden you're doing crazy amounts of grenade damage while your sentry turrets are attacking things. And sentry turrets are kind of like the big boy version of the little sentry turrets that we have in the Division, except these ones are like more like demonic looking and kind of shoot really big like arrows, and it's pretty dope. But yeah, I mean, seasons is like a whole different ball game, and I mean, depending on how you do it, like I mean, every Blizzard game at the moment has seasons. Diablo has seasons. Overwatch has competitive seasons, which whatever. Heroes of the Storm has started seasons. And now we're getting seasons in another big D. So, I mean, it's kind of cool when you think about it, but I don't know how it's going to work. And that scares the shit out of me. Like, can I say that? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm used to having creative editing. So, yeah. So, if only I could tell you the things I've had to edit out of that show. Gosh. So seasons are really important, especially in Diablo, because it changes the meta and it rebuilds things and it forces us to start over as level 1 characters and, you know, level up with our friends all over again. I play with the same 8 guys in Diablo 3 every season. It doesn't matter if I'm in one of the parties or I'm doing it myself. And, you know, I don't know if the Division can necessarily do that, because starting over from 1 and going to 30 in the Division, I imagine would probably be pretty boring again. I've done it 3 times. So, I mean, you know, that's just my personal thing. Yeah, like, I mean, Diablo's fine because I'm literally just going through greater rifts. 8?
8.
You're like that hair commercial for herbal essences where they're like, 8 is great. But yeah, so I mean, Jesus, seasons, it's like, if you had to do that in the Division again, since you can't really efficiently power level in the Division. People say they can, and it's fine if they say they can. It's not what I'm used to. Like, I mean, if I get to level 70 in Diablo during the season and I want to power level one of my friends, I can power level them up to level 70 in less than 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a leap. It goes up. But, you know, Division, I got power leveled by, actually, I think Eidolon helped power level me with tanks at one point when I switched to Xbox for a little bit. Maybe it was Kiv.
That was Kiv, I think.
Was it Kiv?
Yeah, we have
you know,
on the Xbox.
Oh, okay. Have we played on PS4 at least?
Nope.
Wow, I'm a bad friend. Gosh, I'm sorry about that.
That's cool.
Love you? Question mark. But yeah, I mean, the gear builds each season is what you're really doing, because once you complete a certain amount of tasks, you get like a 2-piece part of your set, and then you get the next 2 after you complete the next step, and then finally you get the last 6. And I saw the last 2 for the 6, and I saw what you guys were talking about for 6-piece gear sets. And actually, I'm kind of a little irritated because I was going to talk about that on Bombshell Jackets this week. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. It's not like all these Division community stuff like has like shared Google Docs or something where it's like, you know, this week Weezer's going to talk about how much he would wish tacos were in the game or something like that. But it'd be pretty dope if there was.
Hint.
So yeah, no, I think 6-piece is really the way they can go from this point. And if they're not going to do 6-piece, you know what I like the idea of? Those the 2 SMGs there, Ear and
Hilda.
Yeah, Hilder. Thank you. So, I mean, I like the idea of that because, like, kind of adding more creative juice into, like, set pieces and builds is pretty cool when it works. And, you know, like, the Ninja Bike Messenger bag, I just kind of roll my eyes at every time I see it drop. And I'm like, nope. And I'm pretty sure it's the only exotic that I've had drop more than once for me at this point. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember to keep them.
I've had 3 of them. So, yeah. Very unfortunate for me. Yeah.
I've only had 1, I think.
I had a shit ton. It's horrible.
it sounds awful.
No barrel stretches, no short bro knee pads.
Oh, I got those more than once. Let's just say that.
I still haven't gotten them.
I love you too, Banner.
Let me ask you, do you see the potential? We were talking earlier about competitive PvP. Do you see the potential for there to be an opportunity to make, whether it's, like I said, whether it's removing skills and giving them an area to 4v4? Is there an opportunity to make competitive PvP within Division, or is that something that's yeah? What's your thought?
So look at it like this. Red Storm is basically the PvP branch of the Division game. And I mean, if you look at their pedigree, you'd have to think that if anyone could actually accomplish this, it would be Red Storm. And I want to point out that me saying actually like that wasn't like a negative or anything, because I get accused of that by Tinks all the time. She's like, when you say actually like that, I'm like, but yeah, no, it's not like that. Apparently, I say the name Walter very condescendingly, so I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, if anybody can do it, it's these dudes, and it's kind of an interesting question, because I don't know if there will ever be competitive PvP in this iteration of the game. It might be in another iteration, if that is a thing. I mean, we all want to say that it's going to be a thing because, I don't think another D2 would cause any confusion anywhere. Do you? We've had Diablo 2, now we're getting Destiny 2, and Mighty Ducks 2, D2.
Flying V.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Knuckle puck.
God, Watts just said that too when I said D2. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see like a more in-depth, like small PvP sort of thing where it's normalized too, like an arena combat setting. Not so much as like Destiny, but like maybe the thing that I've always thought about is it's in New York City and there's all these warehouses. I know because I walked around most of them with Tinks. We've been there twice now together, just kind of taking pictures of the city and everything else and what's in there, and is it as close to as it is in the Division, and it's pretty damn close. But yeah, I mean, there's all these warehouses and there's enough big buildings where you could have like a small arena and it'd be kind of cool to see. But like I said, if anybody could do it, it'd be Red Storm.
Central Park as a PvP area.
It's way too big. Central Park's huge.
Yeah, I know.
Bryant
That'd
Park.
be cool.
Bryant Park.
Oh yeah.
No. I mean, if you did
go
like
ahead.
Tavern on the Green in New York City, like in the actual like Central Park area, that'd be kind of funny because you'd be tearing up like this beautiful building and restaurant. Like I'd go do that.
They've been to the Thunderdome.
Exactly.
That's kind of
Tavern at
why.
the Green.
Kind of why I threw out the idea of that final room within Falcon Lost. It's somewhat, it's a pretty decent sized room, but for a 4v4, there are quite a few areas to hide, take cover, to approach it differently. It being kind of a squared off room, it'd be fairly difficult to get behind your other team. So it kind of keeps that face combat going. But yeah, I'm just hoping that it happens. But
Yeah, and then again, take away the skill and just make it a pure bare bones experience with the PvP. That could be
Don't
very
do
interesting.
Or
Yeah.
even some of those underground rooms from the underground.
Yes.
Some of those rooms as arenas would be pretty good.
Yeah. How about you actually add an opportunity for two groups to matchmake within the underground, and you can maybe run across each other and then engage in PvP while you have all the NPCs running around you as well.
There is that other staircase in the hub. I don't know if you noticed that. There's the one
Oh,
where
yeah.
you go
There
down
is
to the
another
underground,
staircase.
That's
and then the
true.
one to the right.
yeah, we actually I took Sage around. We were doing that one night in the terminal. I was like, "What's going to be here?" That terminal leads down, and then across from Survival on the other side, where there's the gates right next to the recalibration station. Like, what's going to be here? What's this?
It's
I'm
a
like,
dungeon,
yeah.
the fun dungeon.
It's the Thunderground, guys. That's.
Step into the Thunderdome.
I kind of wish that. I think my only regret about the Division so far, and I don't mean it in like a passing, like laissez-faire kind of dickish way, is I'd really like to see them do something a little bit more with Underground. And that was Annecy who did that, right? You know?
Yeah.
Underground. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they did the one thing that Destiny couldn't pull off, a procedurally generated dungeon. I mean, procedurally generated is air quotes, but I mean, you see the same thing more than once. And if you do enough riffs in Diablo, you see the same damn maps over and over again, or at least iterations of them. So, I'd like to see them do a little bit something more with that to make people go in and play again, or at least like kind of make it a more addicting experience than it is. Because I went back in and played it this week, and I went from rank 5 to 15 because all I do is play PTS.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why am I doing this? Like, I still haven't gotten my fourth piece of defense. I'm done with this game.
Well,
So what? Can I ask you, Remy, because this is the first time we've ever had a chance to meet, so it's an absolute pleasure to meet you. What actually keeps you playing? Like, because I know you were late to the game, right? But what keeps you? What about the game keeps you playing now? If it wasn't for the podcast, like what would actually keep you going?
Whoa, hey. Don't throw me under that bus. It's absolutely true, but no, don't throw me under that bus. You know what I like about this game a lot, and it's the reason why I still play it, is that people want to do things to change it, and they want to continue to have constructive conversations about it. And like honestly, DB the Division, he's really the reason why I'm here. That's it. He's the reason why I play the game. Please say something and acknowledge me.
Thank you. I put up my horribly resolution picture on the webcam, but it might scare you even more.
No, I like that one though. That's good. That's a good cosplay. I can't cosplay anything because like there's no comic book heroes with big ass red beards. You know, I could do a Viking, but that'd be too easy. An extra from Braveheart, maybe, but you know, I can't do what you guys do because. Whoa! No, I'm just kidding.
We have to get myself a better wood game.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like, I like a lot of the things. The game has a lot of potential. That's why I keep playing it. Like, with every iteration and change, I go in and try and play around with it for the show. You know, I have like 6 different IDs that I use for like PSN, Xbox, and PC is the same one because I'm not going to mess around with that. But, you know, I go around and like I have my little quiet time periods where I'm like, all right, what am I going to do today? And I have a Twink character that I make a joke about named Twinks. And TWINKKZ. And I go in and I play Dark Zone just to see if there are people there, and there are people there. You know, especially at lower levels, it's crazy because that's where you're getting a lot of your mods and your gear, and people are kind of starting to figure that out. Because with the Dark Zone, it's not necessarily a ghost town, but it's pretty close to it. Look at you with your big ass glass of Merlot. That's incredible. That's a big glass of Merlot idle on. But you go into the Dark Zone and like you will find people, and you know once in a while you'll get into your spat and you have to stick with your SMG at the moment because I'll tell you SMGs are melting through people like butter at the moment. It's crazy. I was using an assault rifle in Last Stand, switched over to SMG, and all of a sudden I was Mr. VIP hero guy, and I was like, oh cool, look at me, I'm actually PvPing, and then I got killed. But anyway. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of aspects of the game that are the reason why I play it. And, you know, I don't do the podcast because I'm trying to like get notoriety or something. I don't care what people think of my opinions. I'm going to give my opinions no matter what I do. And, you know, it's what I do. And if I happen to go off the trail and, you know, do a lot of Diablo talk, it's because that's where I get my, you know, kind of my conclusions from. It's like I'm playing this one game which is basically Diablo with guns, and Neo from Loot Shoot Lane, which is a show on our network, they just talk about Blizzard games. That's what they do, and they're fantastic to listen to. But Neo's from the outside Boston area, so he has a little bit of an accent still, and he'll be like, yo, we gotta play this because it's Diablo with guns, or it's Diablo with this, and like that's kind of how I draw my conclusions now, because it's the Division is very, very close to a Diablo with guns, and that's what it is, except it has PvP.
And Diablo is actually a working formula, so why not go from that standpoint and beyond, to be perfectly honest? Because you can see it works well. So why not take that as a formula to go about?
Yeah, I
Right.
totally agree. Anytime that I'm listening to Bombshell and you go and start talking Diablo as someone that hasn't played those games, to listen to those experiences when I'm not well versed in seasons or feats or how that's going to change the way that I play Division, it's really helpful to someone that didn't play those types of games. As I've said, I was primarily a sports gamer competitively for a lot of my gaming within the last 10 years. So not having those experiences, whether it's Destiny, World of Warcraft, Diablo, when you talk about those things, it gives me a lot of clarity on what to expect for the future of the game, and listening to those ideas of season is interesting. I'm definitely down to grind for some vanity or whatever it may be, whatever seasons brings, to breathe a little bit of life into the game different than what we've been doing.
Yo, the new slot's going to be a watch slot. I bet you money. I bet money it's going to be a watch slot.
I've heard a lot of ideas about that. That's an interest. I mean, it's such an intricate and noticeable part of the game. I don't see why.
And it's an iconic piece of the game,
Yeah.
Weezer. Maybe they should do something with it.
Well, what we talked about last time was like another different flare gun color.
Hmm.
If you can shoot people with your flare gun, I would be all for that.
It's like light
With your
sleeves.
extraction flare gun, just point it and take something
Yeah.
down.
Right in the kisser.
That would Hoyt. I don't know. I mean, outside of all that, though, like, I mean, I talk about like EverQuest or something like that, but I think I'm like one of the 5 people that still remember that game was a thing back in the 90s and kind of started the whole like post Ultima Online. That was what really started the MMO craze. So I've always called like games like The Division and Destiny like MMO light because they're not. I mean, you can call them an action RPG all you want, but I mean, you still have a skill tree. You have all this other stuff. So it's kind of at that point when you're playing with other people, it's like, hi, I'm an MMO, but I'm light, LITE. So I don't know. It's a whole thing. And I mean, the game's always progressing. So no matter what happens in the future, I'll probably still be kicking around playing it. And, you know, however long we decide to do Bombshell Jackets for, it will always be spoken of. So, you know, I mean, I'm playing Diablo right now. I'm not even going to lie to you. I can have a conversation with you while I'm doing a Greater Rift, and everything's great.
When you're playing The Division, what content are you playing? Do you find yourself playing just more open world PvP, or are you playing Last Stand?
I've been actually the last couple of days I've been playing Last Stand. I'm sorry. Hold on. My clone's here.
Hey,
Hey.
Say hello to Boba Fett, my unaltered clone.
Hi.
playing some Overwatch. I need to get into that as well. Oh, and a dab. Nice. That's our
I
first
blame-
dab on the show.
I blame Abbott for that. It's the other side, but I need you to plug in the headset if you're going to do that. I'm sorry. I'll be right back, guys. Stall for me.
Absolutely.
No worries.
Yeah, I would
Yes,
be. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I
Bob.
was just going to say, it's interesting, isn't it? The way that we take contrasts from other games.
Absolutely.
And you can see like how many references or experiences from other games that we see within the Division, which is probably why a lot of us all resonate towards it so much without realizing it.
Yeah, I played a lot of Destiny before I actually came to the Division. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's not like it's hidden or anything like that. But I played a shit ton of that, but mostly solo. So I never got into those raids for real. So, but that was my first looter shooter. I played a lot of Diablo 2 back in the day. But that's about it. And then Division came along. I was like, okay, I'm sold. That's basically that pouch I'm going to pour all my fucking golden coins into from this day on.
Yeah. It's the same.
Well, I agree
Yeah, I'm a
with,
bit-
with what you were saying, like as far as Remy speaking about Diablo, and you were saying that's a formula that the Division should follow. You know, I think I think that's probably the route they're going. You know, with Remy perking up so much when they announce seasons, it seems like they are obviously in the past have done the same thing and are looking at those games and using what those games have done really well to kind of direct where they want to go. And as you guys knowing what you know and playing those games, it's exciting to think of what I have to experience for the first time. I've never experienced seasons within a game, so that I'm looking forward to. And hopefully, for a player like me that's never done it, I will be super excited about it. And for players that have experienced it, it'll keep you guys entertained as well. That I'm
Yeah,
looking
for sure.
Yeah, they're
Remy, what-
following the Diablo formula. Like, I mean, there's no other way to look at it. I mean, if you look at the set colors, they're following the Diablo formula. I know people there play Diablo and have played Diablo in the past. So, I mean, it's not like glaring or anything, but I mean, it's got its nods, you know, and nods are cool. I like nods.
I wanted to ask you, when you and Tinks get on, and you have so many different types of content to play within the division, if you two get on the division, do you find yourselves agreeing on what type of content to play? Is she more of a wanting to do Last Stand or Survival or Underground, and you guys enjoy doing the same type of content, or within the division, do you find you kind of give in to whatever the boss wants to do?
The boss.
That's what I call my wife. That's the boss. She's not at work right now. Not here.
No, I mean,
I have to look over my shoulder.
I mean, when we play the division, we're doing stuff like I would say Underground as like a warm up or something like that, just to kind of get used to the shooting again. Because I mean, we kind of transcend most of the consoles and the platforms, if you will, and so sometimes I have really good thumbs, and when I don't have good thumbs, I go back to PC, and because I have a good mouse instead, and mouse, how I love you. But sometimes it'll be Underground. Sometimes I haven't played Last Stand with her since PTS, so Last Stand has just been me going in solo and getting owned by people named like Nachos Galore or something like that, and that's a great name, by the way. I do love nachos. But yeah, I mean, when we're together and playing the division or really any game, it's just a matter of what we happen to feel like at the moment. So, I mean, we play a lot of Don't Starve together, the survival game, which actually we were playing to get pumped for the division survival. So it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, but it was still a lot of fun. It was kind of like Battle Royale, except with like a weather element, which I really appreciated. So a lot of people didn't really view it like that either. And I was just like, huh. Okay. But I mean, it was good. I liked survival a lot. I only played it on PTS. I haven't played it on live. But most of the time when I just jump in, it's because I want to go into a game where I can shoot things, and my background is third-person shooters. Okay. So I like Gears of War a whole lot, and that was like really my first entry into shooters and horde mode and all that. And I wasn't really like a Halo guy or anything like that, or Call of Duty. Once in a while I played COD, but I was like, oh, look at me, I unlocked a Carney perk so I can throw a knife at people. Oh boy. And that was about the most excitement I ever had. So but I like this game because it makes me think more as far as a shooter goes, because it's not necessarily like tactical per se, but you have to think about where you're going to go from point A to point B, which is what I like. And that was what I liked about Gears of War too. It was like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to fight some guy who I know could be around the corner with a Lancer with a chainsaw attached to it. But, if I do this, I might win. And that's what I do. And especially like that with the division. Oh, look, it's Joe Farrow and his Fury Road armor coming after me. Oh, boy, here we go. He comes out. I kill him. And, I do it from different floors because his flamethrower has more range than anything I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I was interested to see how much Last Stand you had played with Tinks. I tell you, I wasn't expecting it at ETF when we first got to play Last Stand. I happened to be sitting on one side of Tinks while Drew, like Butter, was sitting on the other side. And as we played, Tinks is obviously an unbelievable gamer, but I was not aware of how competitive she was. I mean, she is literally screaming at the other players in the room, like the other people that were on her team when they first did Stolen Signal and had Frankie Eats on their team, who he was strictly PvP. He could not PvE at all. Tinks is turned around in her chair, screaming at Frankie, trying to tell him what to do. And I'm like, wow, she is really into it. So it was fun to see Tinks' super competitive side. And like I said,
she was a healer in MMOs.
Yeah.
That's not competition. That's her like telling you what to do, because she was a healer and wouldn't heal you if you didn't do what she did in MMOs. Like, I didn't play MMOs with her, but she is the archetype for a cleric. Like, that's what it is. I mean, she played a paladin too, but yeah, like, I mean, when she's telling you guys what to do like that, and to not just like yelling at other people and like whatever, because she talked about it on the show at one point where she was yelling. I think her and Frank Eats were yelling at each other because Frank was just trying to PvP people, and she was like, no, capture the damn points. And so.
Yeah, the last day that we did DZ during the ETF, we were paired up together, and I don't want to throw Tinks under the bus, but would you believe that right before we ended, Tinks decided to kick me from her team and wanted to unannounced 1v1 me in the DZ without telling me. Like, as soon as she kicked me, I knew what was coming. Yeah.
Dude, she pushes elevator buttons before people even get into elevators. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the least.
I've been known to trick people into thinking that there are hidden vanity items scattered around certain missions just to lure people near gas tanks, just so I can shoot the gas tank when they're standing beside them. That seems to be what I like to do. My family is showing me a dog right now for some reason. No.
I got to head off, guys. Thanks very much.
Yeah, Dave is leaving. So,
See you,
Dave,
DB.
thanks for coming out, dude.
See you, Dave.
Thanks, Idle.
You take care, mate.
Reason-
Dave,
And bye.
have a good one, buddy.
everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Cheers, mate.
My family is trying to convince me to get a dog. No. That's unless the boss says I'm getting a dog, and then I guess we're probably getting a dog.
Then they're not convincing you. Then they're telling you when this is
You're
going
not-
to happen and why it's going to happen.
We're not dog people. No. I didn't need a dog bothering me while I'm trying to play games.
Better race is good.
Yeah. What do you think about Ninja Bike? Do you have any ideas for what they could do with the Ninja Bike, Remy? Or even like we were saying with adding that, coupling that with either 5-piece or 6-piece builds. That's something that would that add some more build diversity to the game?
Yeah, I saw you guys talking about that. I don't think they should do a 5-piece set build. I think they should stick to the 2, 4, and the 6. Only because it's what I know. It doesn't mean I'm right. But if they were going to do anything with the Ninja Bike messenger bag, they still don't have an item that allows you, like if, let's say hypothetically, there's a ring in Diablo which allows you, if you wear it, you have your sets require 1 less piece than normal. So, I mean, Ninja Bike messenger bag is a pretty good, I want to say substitute for that, where I think that if you have the Ninja Bike equipped and you have a 3-piece set on, it might even give you the 4-piece set bonus or something like that. And not 2-piece and not, whatever. It's got to be more than 4, because if you do it a 2-piece, wearing it and having a 1-piece thing just is crazy. It doesn't work like that. So that's just clever programming. I don't know how clever, but it could be. But I mean, there's still no item like that in the game. There's still no items that really, really buff the hell out of sticky bomb. So I just want to use it all the time. That would be nice. Like, whatever. I'm not saying it has to be, but I mean, there's a lot of different perks that could be applied to that Ninja Bike messenger bag instead of what currently it is, and which just doesn't work, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, wrapping up the last 15 minutes, Binary, there any questions, any topics, any discussions that you want to bring up before we get ready to head off?
Do you know what? No, we've covered off quite a lot this evening already.
Come at me, Binary.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. This absolute pleasure. I think the community's in a good place. I don't think the community's in a bad place anymore. I think.
You think?
Yeah. Why isn't it?
It's in a better place. But I mean, I believe both of you knuckleheads are moderators on the Twitch chat, right?
On the Division one, me and Eidolon are. Yep.
Okay.
Eidolon, not long ago, finally got the sword. That's awesome.
So anyway, 2 of my favorite knuckleheads, chat moderators. But I mean, you guys see the salt that comes in there, and it's not like if you took the Twitch chat and then extended it to social media, you would see that the community's in a better place than it was. But there's a lot of people yelling about how they want some previous build of instead of this, and 1.6.1, which should be 1.6.5 for God's sakes. I lost that bet. I mean, they should really, really just kind of look at that and say, all right, what are these people saying? How much of this is actually true? How much of it isn't? So, I mean, the community is in a better place than it was, but I mean, it's not all sunshine and lollipops, and it never is with the game. But I mean, when 1.4 dropped, you saw all the negative reviews on the Division on Steam turned into mostly positive for a very long time. And now I believe it's back to, and I'll have to fact check this because I looked at it the other day because weird things interest me for whatever reason. The Division. Now it's back to mixed. And that's since 1.4. No, I don't want the video. No, Steam, stop, Gabe. So, I mean, you know, you saw it go from mostly positive and now it's back to mixed because of whatever changes are happening. And I mean, there's a lot of outlets that you can look at to see what people's current thoughts are on the Division. But the problem is that you're going to see a lot more negative than positive. And the reason why, and I learned this from years of podcasting at this point, is because people would rather leave a negative review because they're angry enough where they had to log in and do the thing in order to get people to see it. It's like Yelp. Look at Yelp. Yelp is the dumbest website ever because people can just go in and if somebody told them that they weren't going to give them a discount, they can give a 1-star review. That's what it's based on. It's crazy. But there's all these aggregate sites that you can look at to see data on different reviews of certain products and all this other stuff because we live in that fast-paced era now. But you're going to notice that a lot of negative reviews are out there because people who are enjoying the thing don't really have a reason to say that they're enjoying the thing. And it's natural order. It's crazy. But, you know, for every good review we have of the podcast, I can tell you for Bombshell Jackets, my last podcast has negative ones because we were a little more, I want to say that we drank maple syrup constantly and just talked however we felt about things. But the Destiny podcast that I used to be a part of had more negative reviews than anything, I think, at one point, because people just hated the fact that we didn't like what we saw. So, I mean, you know, you go back in and you see negative and positive, and you got to kind of figure out where you are. But since 1.4, it's actually, I think, kind of gone downhill because 1.5 was, you know, pretty cool. It didn't really do much. There was survival, and that was about it. I mean, you weren't really missing some. There were some bug changes, and outside of that, I'm sorry, my son's smack talking people on Overwatch. He's a good kid.
Taught him well.
So you'll know why. But yeah, so I mean, it went down a little bit with 1.5, even though people love survival. Like people love survival. Like even big Destiny streamers or other game streamers love survival, and they were going in and playing survival, and it was just survival until they couldn't survive anymore, and it was just fantastic. But 1.6 came out, and everybody had a problem. It was kind of like when you're playing Metal Gear Solid, and you're hiding in a box, and you see one of those guards walk around. They're like, "Hey, it's just a box." Like. That's what people kind of thought of 1.6, and it was crazy because they're like, oh, hey, it's just another update. And it's like, all right, but, you know, I think it did a lot, and I like a lot of the changes, and I like the progression that it's going down towards. But, I mean, the Joe Schmo consumer who actually pays attention to this stuff, I don't think they're thrilled with it right now. And that's not me doing my Uncle Ricky impression either, but, you know, it's just you go in and you look at what people are saying, and, like, I could just find one real quick, too. Next. Not recommended. If you want to see gameplay of the game, check thousands of YouTube videos about it. I don't really need to talk about it or tell you what's good or not good, especially since this is after a few days released past the 1.6 patch. The PvE until level 30, this is great, blah, blah, blah. But he goes in and kind of talks about PvP and how much it sucks that there's not arenas and stuff like that. And everybody, I think, wanted Last Stand to be like strict PvP, and they didn't like the MOBA-like elements of everything. And it's MOBA. The damn Last Stand is a damn MOBA, and it doesn't matter how you look at it. Go look at Heroes of the Storm. Go look at any other MOBA that's out there. You'll see that it has a lot of MOBA-like qualities. You know, there are points that you can capture, and there's bases and spawns. And the only thing I don't like about Last Stand is that you instant spawn back into the map as fast as you can load. That's what it is. There's no penalty for dying. There's nothing. Like, that would be kind of cool if they would implement that. I don't know if they will, because that's going to make it too much like a MOBA. But, you know, it's just, you'll see a lot of people kind of angrily talking about why they think the game should be different. But, you know, the fact of the matter is just that none of these jackasses have ever programmed anything in their life. They haven't. Yeah. They can be opinionists all they want, but they don't know what it takes to fix 1,000 lines of code. And I mean, my previous job, I had to do stuff like that all the time. And it was infuriating when people were like, well, how come it doesn't work? I'm like, I don't know. Give me a minute and I'll try and fix it. But, you know, I mean, doing it on a mass scale like this, or a massive scale, you know, But yeah, I mean, a lot of these people don't understand the work that goes into anything. So, I mean, it's a living, breathing organism at this point, and it's constantly changing and evolving from its original point. Because I'll tell you, when the game first came out and I was watching people play it on Steam, I was like, or Steam, Twitch. I was just like, I don't know if I really want to play this. And I didn't start playing it until Tinks had sent me a text and she said, you know, you really should try this game. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I did. And I haven't stopped playing. I mean, I'm running a Final Measure build right now just because a Naked Cowboy told me, yeah, you know, Final Measure is actually good. I'm like, yeah, I'll be the judge of that. And that's what I'm doing right now. You know? So, I mean, it's crazy. You have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt. But as far going back to the community thing off my like long known tangent crap that I do, yeah, I don't think it's in a great place right now, but it's in a kind of, well, it's in a middle of the road place right now. A lot is going to pivot on what happens over the next few months.
We got spoiled in 1.5 because we got used to be able to face tank every fucking thing because we had so high damage mitigation. We had somewhere between 50 and 55%. We could basically face tank everything. We got lulled into a state of, I don't know, comfort. Is that even a thing?
Yeah.
We had so much lifesteal, and we basically just build our games around face tanking every single elite boss because that's basically how we did things. And now they changed it, and now we are salty about it.
For sure.
That's the way the community did about it.
I mean, 1.6 was supposed to be like a kind of big deal for PvP people, and I think in the end, a lot of them kind of got let down. And you know, that was their last stand. They were like, you know, this is it. Now I'm going to start writing negatively about the division. And you know, they weren't even Paul Tassi at that point.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I agree. It's kind of a, you know, in a middle of the road kind of place right now. And I agree. I think it's that unknown of what we can expect in the future. You know, getting loadouts, those kind of things, quality of life changes with the next PTS is great. But I think this community is always going to be waiting for that next big thing for us to do as players. I don't think that's loadouts. I don't think that's quality of life things. That's content, or how we're going to be playing that content. That's why I'm excited for seasons and feats to see how that changes my focus within the game. I totally agree with the PvP, those players not getting that dedicated PvP experience because they're still relying on PvE players. At the end of the day, there is still that element within Last Stand, and I think a lot of that hardcore community was expecting a dedicated PvP game mode. They didn't get it. I will say I have noticed within the last few days some of the more well-known streamers slightly backing off from some of the statements about leaving the game. Some of them have stuck around, and that's good to see. But yeah, I agree. I think we're in kind of a haze right now, waiting for the next information, what we can expect in the next 1.6 update. What do you think, Binary?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't have anything to add to that. It'll be interesting to see what 1.61 brings us. I'm overly optimistic as to what that will bring. I think for me, as long as PTS is focused and it's not just a play and have at it on everything, if they can deliver a little bit more of a focused PTS, it might give us a little bit more faith as to what they're actually working on in terms of clarity. You know, and I'd always go back to the point. I guess my point is, you know, I've paid my money and I've had my dues, so everything I'm getting right now is a bonus. You know, I've spent my $100 and I've got my 35 days in the game, which is more than it's probably not nice. I've probably spent more days in Lineage 2 than I have anything else. But anything we're getting now, and I will always say it is a bonus to me.
Yeah.
You know, we've had our money's worth. If they want to keep putting time and effort into developing a game, let them do that. And as long as they do that in a concise and transparent way, I think they'll always in the long run, win the community over. I think it's when they stop being as transparent as they are, is when the community will just disappear.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like that the PTS is going to be focused on one specific thing, and I think, Remy, I think you and Tinks have talked about that in past episodes of Bombshell Jackets, where the PTS had so much content in it that people were doing one particular thing and not doing something else. It may have been survival where people. No, well, let's see. When did we get the new DZs? That was within Last Stand, where everyone was doing one particular content and was not doing something else, and they basically shut that down on the PTS because they wanted
Survival.
it was survival. And I think that's probably a smart move, them kind of focusing a PTS on one specific thing instead of giving us multiple things to do like they did the time before. Everybody gravitated to the new shiny thing, and that's all they did. They didn't really use the PTS what it was intended for. So
yeah. I think the PTS is, and I've played or public test servers on magnitude of other games. The PTS, you run it over 4 weeks, you run it as long as you need, but you give players exactly what you want them to test and nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't give them absolutely everything or open everything up, and it's not a clear test. Otherwise, the flock will never behave the way that you want it to. So that's all I hope. I honestly hope that they become a little bit more rigid in their testing mechanism.
Yeah, I think Eric's discussed that as well on the podcast that he did with Like Butter and Skill Up. Like when he was a tester, they give them specific things to test, and that's all you test.
Yeah, that's something. I don't think that the Stolen Signal, the incursion, had any place to do on the PTS, to be perfectly honest, because that kind of took away the community first and all that good stuff. I know that Deep Fried Dave was pretty upset about it too. Yep. So I gotta admit, I chimed in on that one. I was like, that honestly fucking sucks.
Right. Absolutely. Well, as we finish it up, guys, I want to thank everybody that's joined tonight. Remy, thank you so much for hopping in. We love Bombshell Jackets. Tell Tinks we all said hi as well. I love Bombshell Jackets. It helps me get through the workday. I listen to so many podcasts, and it's one that I have my notifications on, just waiting for a new episode to drop. So
I'm doing one to compete with her and Dave's lore podcast. It's going to be a solo show where I just sit and do old man Rem in his chair talking about Diablo lore. So that's going to be my new thing.
We look forward to that one.
Ilon, have you pinned down a schedule yet for your streaming? Is that a thing yet as well? Are you still doing it on the fly when you feel like it?
I'm still doing it on the fly because I'm a goddamn idiot.
We got to get you streaming some more as well. Your streams are entertaining, to say the least.
Yeah, I'll actually be streaming some season 10 of Diablo tonight.
Nice.
I'm playing around with the Demon Hunter this season, because normally I'm a Crusader because I'm a big boy with a shield. But no, I like Crusaders because they have a neat little thing. But me playing around with the turrets in the division made me kind of get homesick for the Marauders build, and that's what I'm basically doing right now. So I have like 5 turrets I can throw out, and if I have 3 of them out, I do like 1,200% more damage or something with my main attack. So It's going to be fun to see how quick I'll die.
Absolutely. Well, thank both of you guys for joining us. I also want to mention, we've talked about it in the first episode, and we've kind of narrowed it down. We had talked about trying to put out a game to the community. If you guys want to be a part of it as well, we're going to do it on all 3 platforms. We're going to start with Xbox One first. And we're going to pick up some older games that we can have some fun and do a little PvP with. So we're going to pick up, I actually picked it up at GameStop for like $13. We're going to do Call of Duty Black Ops just so we can have some private matches on Xbox One, doing some knives only or pistols only, and then we might move into some more structured team search and destroy stuff like that. So if you want to be a part of that, pick up Black Ops on Xbox. Well, it's backwards compatible, so pick it up on Xbox 360, and we're going to do that on Xbox One. We'll put out the dates for that. And Binary, I'm going to turn it over to you and let everyone know what else we got going on from Dark Zone Report this weekend. Let you close it out.
Oh, big moment. Well, let's just say we're halfway through the DCW weekend now, and it has been. And I can only say thank you to the plethora of streamers that have signed up and have been streaming for literally the constant last 24 or 28 hours. We've raised quite a bit of money already for the charity to do with Taylor, which is absolutely incredible. And I'm sure he will be doing something to say thank you come towards the end of the weekend. There is a full streaming, so if you carry on watching the DZR Gaming Twitter feed, and you'll get notifications for all the streamers that will be going live 10 minutes before they do, and that's going all the way through until 11 p.m. EST tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got DZR Engage, which will be live from 11 a.m. GMT. So there'll be news, reviews, and opinions from the last week's gaming industry news. And sort of watch out for Matt Shotcher's stream. I know he's probably streaming tomorrow as well. So if there's anything, I'm sure he'll answer any questions as well. And that's it, really. I just want to say thank you to everybody coming. Remy, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you. Eidolon, as always, you're a beautiful man. It's absolutely brilliant you being here.
I don't know if
everybody.
I don't know which one I want more, that beautiful hair or that beautiful red beard. Which one? Just merge them both together.
Man, that'd be one weird looking kid.
Oh yeah.
No, thank you both.
Red
for
beard,
joining.
black
Thank you.
hair.
Everybody who's been in chat for the entire time too, it's been absolute. Really appreciate you staying and watching, asking questions and being involved. Obviously, we would like to see more of you in chat, actually in the Hangout itself. So we use Google because it's probably the most accessible to people. So you're just coming through a web browser. So next time, hopefully, we'll get more of you in it as well. And we will look to do another one in 2 weeks' time. Is that right, Weez?
Absolutely. We'll be here. 2 weeks.
Absolutely. All right, again, gents. I guess we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
You
Thanks
betcha.
for your time.